And basically the pitch we made then is we know how to make these models better than others do, right? There may be a curve. There may be a curve of scaling laws, but look, if we are in a position where we can do for 100 million what others can do for a billion, and we could do for 10 billion what they can do for 100 billion, then it's 10 times more capital efficient to invest in Anthropic than it is to invest in these other companies. Would you rather be in a position where you can do anything for 10 times cheaper, or where you start with a large pile of money? If you can do things 10 times cheaper, the money is a temporary defect that you can remedy. If you have this intrinsic ability to build things for the same price, much better than anyone else, or as good as anyone else for much lower price, investors aren't idiots, or at least they aren't.
Like Demis Hassabis says, to get to AGI, or you might call it super powerful AGI, whatever, human level intelligence is what we're all talking about. We might need a couple new techniques for that to happen. If
we're developing new techniques. We're developing new techniques every day.
Okay.
Claude is very good at code, and we don't really talk externally that much about why Claude is so good at code.
Why is it so good at code?
Like I said, we don't talk externally about it.
I have to ask.
So every new version of Claude that we make has, improvements to the architecture, improvements to the data that we put into it, improvements to the methods that we use to train it.
Yeah. So constitutional AI was kind of an algorithm, a technique that we developed, kind of a waypoint on the path of trying to figure out how to train AI systems to do what we want and not do things that are harmful.
We don't want. Yeah.
We don't want. So the basic idea is that you can write down a list of principles for how an AI system should behave. We called that a constitution. And then you have your AI, it's still training, it's still learning, try out different things that it could do. So you ask it a question, was the third president of the US Thomas Jefferson or Abraham Lincoln or Elon Musk? And it should prefer the answer that's correct and it's more helpful. So you allow it to try many different possible behaviors, give you a lot of different answers. And then you ask it, or you ask other AI, which of these answers is most in accordance with the Constitution? And
like a Supreme Court AI.
Yeah, exactly. The judge. Yeah,
the
exactly.
Judge,
The judge. You ask it which response is better, and you do this thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of times. Lots of different possible questions or instructions. Some of them good, some of them potentially harmful.
So the reason why we use the word holography for this idea is that objects like our hand dropping a apple falling towards the earth in a gravitational universe are fundamentally being described by some lower dimensional theory that lives on an area, just like holograms look like three-dimensional images, but fundamentally they're two-dimensional structures etched into glass. So the idea is that our approach to quantum gravity shouldn't take this reductionist route of taking things apart in space, because really space is an illusion, and instead there's this holographic description. So if you've absorbed that, you should see that I'm telling you that quantum gravity is really very, very, very different from the other forces.